Hey everybody, welcome to Money's No Object. I'm your host, Dylan Howell. This is episode number 15 of Money's No Object and the end of our third week of this YouTube channel and podcast. And I'm excited to continue giving you all this financial knowledge and wisdom that I have and just pouring it onto you guys and getting your feedback, and I'm really loving it so far. So hopefully we can continue to move forward together and really grow in our knowledge and our understanding of all things personal finance. Well, today is the end of the financial action plan, and you may be saying, well, then Dylan, what else are you going to cover? There's plenty. Don't worry about it. But today we're at the end of the financial action plan. This is part 9 of the financial action plan. And we've done a lot to get to this point. And so today is all about generosity and being extremely generous with your money. So I can't wait to dive into that topic with you guys. Now, before we get started, just quick housekeeping. You see that subscribe button down below? Go click it. Click the subscribe button. Make it light up. It's a big red button. Click it. And once you've clicked it, then a little bell will pop up. Click that bell. Get the notifications about the new content that we're posting. Like this video. Give me comments, feedback about what you think could be done better or topics that you think I should cover moving forward. Also, follow me on social media at MNO with Dylan, or check out my website, www.mnowithdylan.com, to check out the financial coaching services that I offer. You can also get this video, this YouTube video, in a podcast form on iTunes and Spotify, and you can subscribe there, and that's just Money's No Object with Dylan Howell, and it's right there on both of those sites. So let's just jump right in. Where have we been in this financial action plan? So step 1, part 1, was to budget and why budgeting was vital. And we got our income and our expenses taken care of there. Then we went to step 2, and it was 1 month of expenses in an emergency fund. And so we set up that initial emergency fund in step 2. Step 3 was to take advantage of the employer match if you have one in your employer-sponsored retirement account. And so that was step 3. Then we got to step 4. And step 4 was to pay off all consumer debt other than your home. So this is credit cards, medical bills, all of these types of things. Pay those off. Get out of debt, everything but your home. Then step 5 was to build that emergency fund of 1 month of expenses up to 4 to 6 months of expenses, and to have that what we would call just fully funded and fully stacked to put a cushion between you and life. Then step 6 was to invest a minimum of 15% of your income towards retirement and towards your future and towards your children's future. And we talked some about some of the accounts that you can put that money in on yesterday's video. And then after we were talking about 15% or more invested, we moved on to saying, okay, well, let's take care of the house. Let's pay off the house early. And so we talked about why that is important. Then we got to yesterday's video, and yesterday's video, step 8, was to max everything out and to do everything investing wise to push and max things out as best you can to build wealth incrementally in the future. And so now what we're going to look at is the last thing that I want to cover as far as a financial action plan step and a principle that you should live by, is to just be extremely generous. Now, one question and piece of pushback that I might get here is, well, be generous. Well, Dylan, didn't you already tell us we need to be giving? Like, I've already budgeted for that. That's already done. Why do I have to be more generous? Can't I just spend everything else that I have? I've invested. I'm maxing everything out. Can't I just spend it all? Well, if you think that's the best use for your money, if you think that's keeping you in financial balance. But let me hit you with a couple things real quick that maybe you need to think about. Spending at its core is fleeting. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to have a lot of joy and a lot of happiness from things that you can do with your family, do for your family, do for yourself. You're going to be really happy about the utility to you that those things bring. But I've also talked about the most fun that money can offer, and it's giving it away. And if you're already giving, you probably feel that. You probably feel that inside, that giving is fun, and I would like to continue giving. And if that's the case, then this step's not going to be extremely difficult for you. If you're already giving, that's awesome. And I want you to continue doing that. But if for some reason you walk through these steps without giving consistently, now's the time to start. Now, at this point, you have a lot of leftover money, and I want you to allocate it well, but you need to be giving. Giving is going to make you the most content and the happiest of any of the things that I've talked about. Giving is so important and it's so vital, and you can do a lot of good with this money that you have at this point in the financial action plan. And at this point, giving is a bigger responsibility than it has been in the past. And let's talk about why that is. Well, in the past, we've had limited income for multiple reasons. So maybe you were in debt, or you were trying to build up an emergency fund, or you were trying to just start investing, or you were trying to pay off your home or whatever. Well, at this point, your income has no limits as far as what you can do with it. You're not limited in the things that you have to pay for and things like that. You can simply say, I'm going to be extremely generous and I'm going to do as much as I can for others in this step. And so that's why it's a bigger responsibility at this point, because anytime you have more money, hey, more money, more problems, more money, more responsibilities. And maybe something that you can do at this point is just make a whole new budget for your giving. Maybe you can give so much and so great to different causes and different places, different people, that you can just create a whole separate budget for your giving. Especially if you're on Excel, you can just create another sheet and just give and put giving on the name of that sheet and just make a budget for your giving. And that'd be an awesome thing to do and an awesome exercise for you. And that's something I want you to do at this point. At this point, I want you to really, really nail down how you're giving, why you're giving to the things that you are, how much you're giving to the things that you are, and put as much pride in your giving as you are in your investing. Now, let's not forget that we do have to do our homework and our research on the things that we give to. But at this point, you can make a much bigger impact because you don't have any bills to pay. So you can make a much bigger impact on people's lives when you don't owe people any money. And so you can make a really big impact at this point and give to things and do things that you couldn't do before, but you still need to do it in a responsible way and in a way that you've done the homework and you know that your money is doing something that is going to be effective and that is going to yield a lot of good, and it will match the values that you have for yourself and your family. And ultimately, what do we know? And what have we talked about before? God's money is what you're given. I don't have Dylan's money. I have God's money that Dylan's managing, right? So God needs a good manager for his money. And so when we have more, we need to be even more diligent to be a good manager for God and manage his money well. And so when we're at this step where we have so much extra income and we're going to give more and we're going to be more philanthropic, then what we can do is really make the conscious effort to be good managers and be prudent and do our work, do our homework, be resourceful and not just give haphazardly. Although in certain situations, giving off the top of your head is not wrong, but a lot of your giving, and especially the amount that you give, does need to be planned. That way we don't get out of financial balance like we talked about previously. And even if you're not a believer, even if you're not someone of faith, I don't want to push you away from this video. I think you believe as well as I do that you can do a lot of good in the world. And one way that you can do good is giving to things that you believe in and things that align with your values. And so whether or not you're a person of faith or a believer, then I just implore you to give, because you're gonna feel inside of you that this is what I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to be more generous. I'm supposed to be more giving with the things that I have. And it's going to be a good exercise for you one way or the other. So maybe you're not doing it for a religious reason, and maybe you're not doing it for a spiritual reason, but do it for yourself, and there will be an emotional response. There will be a spiritual response to you doing this particular action. And my guess is you're going to like it and you're going to continue doing it moving forward. So you heard me say a few minutes ago, treat your giving like you treat your investing, or treat your giving better than you treat your investing. And what I mean by that is a couple things. So let's look at this. You need to plan. Your giving doesn't need to be something that is like I said, haphazard. It doesn't need to be something that's not planned for and not laid out month to month. If you're going to do all the work to pick the right mutual funds to invest in or the right stocks to invest in or whatever, if you're going to do all that work and make all those decisions, why is it not just as important to do the work and do the decision making for giving your money? It shouldn't be that simple. It shouldn't be so easy that you just do it blindly, because if you were to invest blindly, many people have gotten burned by investing blindly. So I want you to take the time and make the plan of how you're going to give at this point, given the fact that you have a bigger responsibility and more money to manage. I also want your giving to be systematic. So what do I mean? Just like you're investing, and most people set their investing up this way, where month by month we know exactly how much money is going to go into investing. We know what either percentage or dollar amount is going to go towards investing. And so if we know that, then we can make those decisions and budget it out well. And it needs to be done the same way with your giving. It needs to be systematic. It needs to be, we're going to give this much at this time of the month and this much here and this much when we get paid here and things like that. Now, you may have spare money that you're going to give to individual people, and you may have certain opportunities to do that, and that's fine. But don't get to the end of your budgeting period and still have money in your pocket. That money should be spent. That way your budget doesn't ever get out of whack, and you're doing this systematically, and you have a plan, and everything is clicking just like it is with your investing. Also, there are these ideas in investing called allocation and diversification. And so that's going to apply to your giving as well. So what do I mean? I mean, there are a wide range of charitable organizations, and there's a wide range of individuals that could use the money that you have and that could be impacted by the money that you have. And so what I'm getting at here is that maybe you shouldn't give all of your money to one thing. And maybe you shouldn't give all of your money to one cause, or maybe you should be more diversified. You should spread your money into these different charities and buckets and giving to individuals and things like that. And I don't want you to spread yourself so wide that you're very thin, right? We don't want to be, a mile wide and an inch thin. I would much rather you make an impact. I want your giving to be impactful and for you to feel the impact of your giving. But if you're at a point where you can give a lot of money, which you are if you're at this point in the financial action plan steps, then you can take the steps forward and say, okay, well, I can give a lot of money now. How much is it going to take to make an impact here? How much is it going to take to make an impact here? How much is it going to take for me to feel like I'm doing something of value at these particular organizations or to these particular people? And lastly, when I'm talking about your charitable giving being just like your investing, you always need to be reevaluating. So what do I mean? Let's say you start giving to someone or something, and at some point you start feeling like, I don't know if they're managing my money well. I don't feel like this is aligned with my values. I don't know if the fruits of this giving are what I want them to be. And if that is the case, then maybe you would make a change in how you're giving. Because just think about it. If you have an investment that has consistently underperformed, you would not just sit and wait on that investment to perform if there is some kind of mistake that has been made. If you're not invested in the way that you want to be invested, you're going to be reevaluating your investments, reevaluating the things that you put your money into. And giving is no different. You need to be reevaluating how you give and reevaluating where your money goes, because you're managing your money for God and you're giving your money in a way that is deeply emotional and deeply spiritual. So you don't want that money to be misallocated. You don't want that money to be put in the wrong places. That's why we always have to look in the mirror and look on our budgets and go, is this working out? Am I doing the things that I need to be doing to give prudently and give in a way that is responsible? And additionally, if new things come up that you really feel led to give to, you might have to cut your giving elsewhere. And you're going to have to say no to some things, right? I've talked before about making a list and working your way down the list and seeing which things meet your value system the best and which things could use your money the most and things like that. And you're going to work through that. And maybe a new thing is added to the list that you didn't know about before that you think can do a lot better with the money that you have. And so you may have to cut giving in one place to give in another place. Don't feel the don't feel bad about not giving in one place to give in another. That's a decision that you're constantly making anyway, subconsciously, to not give to certain places to give to others. So don't make the conscious decision any more emotional than it has to be. If you feel as if, and if you see that this one place is more aligned with what you want to do with your giving, then do that. And I just don't want you to feel bad. I don't want you to feel like you are being selfish by taking the money that you're giving from a particular organization. Just know that you want your money to do the most good. And in order to do that, you have to constantly reevaluate and constantly see that your money's doing what you want it to do out in the world. And then also just keep tabs on the places that your money's going to. I'm not saying that you have to ask them for their financial records every month or every quarter or whatever, but I would like to see things like that maybe annually, and I would like to see the work that they're doing, and I would like to see the places where your money is working, and asking the individuals who you're working with, like, okay, well, when I give, where does my money go? When, how much of this actually makes it to the ground of doing the things that you all do in your mission, and things like that. And knowing where your money goes is extremely important here. And I just don't want you to end up in a place where you've put your money somewhere and you thought your money was being used one way, and yet it's being used another. So just be evaluating at all times, and be keeping tabs on the things that you're giving your money to. So this is step 9. So you may be saying, Dylan, are we done already? Well, yeah, we're done. This is the last financial action plan step. Now, I'm not done with this channel. We're just done with the financial action plan. I want to reiterate that for sure. But we're not just done. Like, once we're giving generously, it's not just like, cool, it's over. It's a continuous process, right? What are we always doing? We're always giving, saving, and spending. That's not going to stop. That's never going to stop. We're going to continue in this process. So what do we have to do now? Well, we have to make sure that we continue investing. We can't stop our investing even once we've made it to financial action plan step 9. We have to continue investing because you need money to live on later, and you need to take care of your kids. And like I've told you before, the financial action plan steps are not just things that have to be done just once and it's over, right? So there are certain things, like, for instance, once you set your emergency funds, like, you can be hands off at least for a long period of time until your expenses change. Or if you are getting out of debt, once you're out of debt, you're out of debt. So that's a step that is by itself done. You don't have to do anymore. But you always have to be budgeting, and you always have to be investing, and you always have to be giving, and you always have to be, doing these things that are integral to the financial action plan. Also, if you're paying off your home, once your home's paid off, you're not going back to that. But these other things that I've laid out, I'm just laying out when you need to start them, not when they need to end. And some steps require something to end, like a mortgage or like a particular debt. But investing doesn't require an ending, and saving doesn't require an ending, and giving doesn't require an ending. At this point, your new rhythm of life needs to be a rhythm of, okay, spending what I want to spend, but I am being extremely generous, and I'm saving large amounts towards my future. I'm really pushing, because you don't want to miss these opportunities. You don't want to miss the opportunity of, I have a lot of money and I can do all these things, but I got paralysis by analysis and I didn't invest what I should have, or didn't do what I should have. Take advantage of the income that you have left over and really do these things, and make it a rhythm of always doing them, and always doing them consistently, and always doing them in balance. Also, it's important to note that we can't fall back into bad habits. And I want to stick here for just a second, because I know that if you're in this place, it's possible that you've never made a lot of bad financial decisions, but it's also possible that you almost primarily made bad financial decisions at some point in your life. And so I really want to implore you, do not get to this point and then decide that, man, I think I want to get some debt, or man, I think I want to go finance a $70,000 car, or I think I want to do all of these things that are unnecessary and that are just going to set you back financially. I don't want you guys to fall into those bad habits. And I don't want you to fall into, oh, I have all this money, so you know what, I'm not really going to give as much anymore. I'm just going to spend. I've gotten out of giving what I can get, or I'm not going to, save anymore because, I just want to spend, or, or the other way. I'm not going to spend because I've got all this money to save. No, remember balance. Remember maintaining this balance and moving forward with this new rhythm and these new good financial habits that you have built to this point. Now, again, if you're not in this place in the financial action plan, no shame, no hate, but I want you to strive to be here because this is the fun stuff. This is where you have so many options, right? Options are fun. We don't like when people go, we're going to go out to eat here. Now, you may love that place, so it may be good once, but if somebody is always choosing for you and telling you what's going to happen, you don't like that, right? And that's what it's like to be in debt. Like if you're in debt, then, you don't have a choice. Your money has to go to these things that you owe money to, or else you're going to file bankruptcy at some point or something like that. But to be at this point in financial freedom, it's like every night somebody's asking you, where do you want to go out to eat? What do you want to do? Because you have options. You have the ability to look around you and say, I want my money to go to these places, and I want to allocate more here and do less here, and let's reevaluate this. And you have so many options. Yes, the options can be dangerous, but don't try to make it too complex. Try to keep it simple if you can. Unless you enjoy complexity and can keep up with it. But if you can't keep up with it, you can't do the research and the analysis, then don't do it. And just try to keep it as simple as possible and enjoy your life. Have so much fun doing these things. None of this financial action plan has been to tie you down to anything. It's all been to free you. It's all been to make your life more financially free and to open you up to new possibilities that you maybe didn't think was possible because you can actually have more money available to you. You notice through this whole thing, I haven't talked about you need to do this, this, and this to get a raise. Like, yeah, getting raises would be awesome in this whole thing. You likely will if you're making good financial decisions. And I haven't talked too much about jobs, and I haven't talked too much about careers or anything like that because I'm not assuming that you're getting a bunch of pay raises, and I'm not assuming that your income is changing a lot. I'm saying with the income that you have today, if it's a reasonable income, some people have income issues, but if it's a reasonable income, you can walk through these steps. You may be able to do it with more or less intensity than someone else, and you may be able to do it with more or less fervor and strength and speed as someone else, but you can still do it. And it may take time, and I know I've covered it in 9 videos and 9 particular days. It's going to take longer than that. It's going to take a long time, and that's why I'm going to expound on these concepts as we go through this channel and as we continue to make videos. I'm going to expound on these and continue to reference back, and I just needed you guys to know what my ideas are first. That way you'll know the baseline for where I'm building all of my assumptions moving forward. And so just know that it's going to take time, and it's going to be difficult at times, and it's going to be really easy and really fun at sometimes, but especially once you get to these last 2 steps, gosh, it's just so fulfilling and it's so much fun, and you can really enjoy yourself financially, and you can enjoy your life in a way that you haven't been able to do before, and you can impact other people's lives in ways that maybe you never thought was possible. So what am I going to do from here on? So let's talk about that for just a second. How am I going to move from the financial action steps? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm really going to dig into the details of investing, the details of your individual personal finances, the details of debt. All of these particular details, I'm really going to just dig in, and there's a lot of space to cover. So trust me, we're not going to run out of any content anytime soon. I'm also going to direct you to really good resources. So I'm going to direct you to good books and good podcasts and other good YouTube channels that you can go watch and learn even more about topics that I've covered. And then I'm just going to cover everything that you could think of that attaches to the financial action plan, and everything that is a small part of it that I may have glossed over in telling you about the plan, but maybe a really big thing and a big thought that you have in your head at a particular moment. And so I'm going to cover all of those little things. And, this was more steps and what you need to do. The whole show is not going to be like that. Most of what I do is going to be far more example oriented and based on anecdotal evidence. And I'm going to go back to the empirics often, but I want you to know that things behaviorally can be done and that you can make a change in your own life. And so throughout this whole thing, it's going to be a knowledge journey. It's going to be a journey of having a lot of fun and learning a lot of things that maybe you never thought that you could learn about. But I'm going to try to simplify personal finances as best I can and allow you to work through these financial action plan steps in a way that will make you financially free and financially successful long term. I just want you to know about the things that hold our world together and that hold the finances together. And I want to look at it through a lens that is based on biblical truth and that is based on empirical truth, and that we can look and go, the numbers don't lie and the numbers match with God's word. And if you're not a believer, then that's okay. You're going to get plenty from this YouTube channel, and I'm going to provide you with plenty of evidence as to why what I say works. So let's dig in together. Let's get into these details really hard and heavy and continue looking forward together. So generosity is just unparalleled in its ability to bring you fulfillment and bring you happiness. And so I want you to give so generously when you get to this point in the financial action plan. I want you all to be generous people and be giving and be caring about others and doing for others and not just worrying about yourself all the time and being outward looking and not inward looking, being content with what you have, therefore being able to look into the lives of others and wanting to help and wanting to do good for them. Stay tuned to the things that we're going to put out moving forward. I'm really excited to continue going, and I'm really grateful that you guys are watching this YouTube channel, listening to this podcast. The podcast can be found on iTunes and Spotify if you want to go check that out. You can follow me at MNO with Dylan on all the major social medias. You can check out the website www.mnowithdylan.com and check out the financial coaching services that I offer. And just stay tuned. So tomorrow we're going to have a weekly rewind video. This will be the third one of those, and that'll just cover the large parts of what we did this week. And if you want to watch one of those and you missed a video previously, you can dig back into that video. And then check back in Monday. Monday, we're going to dig into the details of, how do I get current financially? If I'm so far behind, Dylan, you've walked into all these other financial action plan steps and I'm just not there. I need to get current and I need to get started. How do I do that? And so we're going to start with that on Monday. And I'm really excited to dig into all these things and all these details with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, leave me some feedback in the comments, and I'll be glad to get back to you and hear whatever you have to say. So this is the 15th episode of Money's No Object with Dylan Howell. I'm your host, Dylan Howell. Thanks for watching. God bless.